Hey guys, hope you are well. And in this video, I will be discussing, as I promised in my last video, I will be discussing about a success story. So this is a success story of one of my clients who manifested her SP and is now in a very happy relationship. And I'm going to be sharing everything with you. I'm going to be sharing her past. I'm going to be sharing about her circumstances. I'm going to be sharing what we worked on, how we worked on it, what were the time frames on which we worked on these things, so that we can have a better understanding of the situation, and that if you are in a similar situation like her, that you can use this knowledge and apply it in your life right now, because I'm pretty sure once you start applying it, you will anyway have drastic and helpful effects in your life. So let's get into the video. I will first start by reading the success story, and the success story goes this way. So I posted the success story on my Instagram. I also posted the timestamps because I wanted you guys to see how quick the results can be, because it's not just about that this person just instantly got results, right? It's not just that when we had this call and I told her this magic secret, or I told her a code, and then she suddenly applied that discount coupon and she suddenly got results. That's not how it goes. She had been working on this for a while. She was someone who was consistent. She was someone who is very aware, and she had been applying things. But sometimes what happens is when you have a call, something instantly clicks, and that just creates a shift in you. That's why you will see that a lot of people sometimes post that, I had a session with this one person and 1 hour ago I got results. All these things are great, and it's good that people get results this way. Just like this person, she eventually did get the results in that 1.5 to 3 hours after our call, right? So that's amazing. But for someone like you who is reading a success story or watching this video, this can actually put you in a state of comparison, that this person just took this call and got a result in an hour, but I have been doing this for 6 months and haven't gotten results, right? So that's not really helpful. So it's my job as a coach to clear all this up here for you, that no one actually gets instant results. Of course there are instant shifts, and things when they come into your life, they feel instant, but there is a lot of work that gets put into it behind the scenes that we don't really see, and it's just that sometimes we connect the dots looking backwards. So that's just something to see in this situation. So we had a call, and after the call, which she actually booked for a 1 hour call, and the call, she had not much to talk about, so we ended the call in around 40 minutes. But then this is the success story. She said, "Thanks a lot for the call today, Karan. Seeing things from your perspective helped me see everything way clearer than ever. He gave me a surprise by coming back home today, has planned a movie date for which we will leave in some time. I won't sabotage it in this way. I will stand by it. Thanks a lot again for speaking to me." So now let's understand her past a little bit. Let's understand what her situation was, what she went through, and what got her here. So this is one of my clients who, when she was very, very young, she got married. And she got married in an arranged marriage setup. Now, before she got married, she hadn't actually gotten into any relationships. So one thing that you will see is that as you're growing up, usually people start getting into relationships at the age of 16, 17, 18, 19, right? So a lot of times, some things we start to learn about relationships is through those ages. But this is also possible that a lot of times people get into relationships on a slightly different age, let's say 23, 24, 25, 26, or even 30, 35. There is nothing wrong with you getting into a relationship late. That's not the issue. It's just that there are some things which are some uncommon things which we don't usually talk about with people, that we only get to know once we are in this relationship. So there were some things that this person didn't know about, right? So when she got into this marriage setup, this was an arranged marriage by her family, and she eventually got married. But her marriage didn't go well. Eventually the person that she was married with was not really respectful, and this is what I was talking about before. Because she hadn't been into relationships before and she did not have much exposure about it, there were many red flags in the situation that she ignored from the start, right? If she would have, and this she didn't do out because she didn't respect herself. That was not her issue. Her issue was that she didn't know that these things are wrong, right? So she kept accepting them and kept allowing that kind of a behavior in her life. But just because she didn't know, yes, she's a victim of it. But now, even though she didn't know, she still went through it. So now, putting herself in that position, or changing those actions that she now has to do, she has to take responsibility of it, which is something that this person was very good at. So we and this the first coaching session that we had was a very long time back. I think this is 2022, right? So the first time we had a coaching session was at that time, and I will explain the story so you will understand it. Now what happened is that this person eventually had gotten out of this marriage because this was not working out, but by this time she had developed severe issues when it comes to relationships. So she was in a zone where her mind was actually so scared and so afraid of actually getting into any relationships at all, that she was taking choices and getting into situations where any relationship that she was getting involved in wasn't working out. She was pretty adamant with the way that she was choosing men in her life. She was actually consciously going after situations which were not working out, because how our mind works is that my mind doesn't care if I'm in a relationship or not. It cares if I'm alive or not. And to make sure that I stay alive, my mind has to create some patterns. And sometimes these patterns are against what we want. In this situation, even though she wanted love in her life, her mind was not actually feeling safe with the idea of receiving it. So it created patterns against it, which means the kind of things that she was choosing to go into were in a very subtle and an unconscious way going against what she wanted, right? So she kept getting involved in situations like these, and eventually she got into a dynamic with a guy who was very hot and cold. Now in 2022, when she came to me, her prime focus was on how can I get out of this toxic situation, because she realized that she was in it, and she realized that she was getting involved in it. She just wanted to clear her patterns, and of course a part of her was hoping that this relationship gets better. But then when we talked about it and she started working on herself, she realized that, you know what, like I'm just going after this because of me feeling unsafe in relationships. So we worked a lot on many things. I think this she was the one of the first people who actually bought my self concept course. So I launched it back, I think, in November 2022, so that she was probably the first or the second person who bought my course. This is how long ago I have known this person. So she also took the course, she started working on it, she got a lot better, and eventually this guy got married. But like the other guy got married, but her focus in the first few weeks had already shifted that I don't want to go after this situation. And that was her intention too. She came to me with this intention that I want to get out of this. So after getting out of this, this guy got married. She didn't care because she realized that, you know what, I was just going into it because I was not feeling safe in relationships. So she got out of this situation, and eventually she started doing very well. She started thriving in her job. I think on my page I have posted a while back her success story for her job. So she also manifested a job. She manifested many things. Now after that, she connected with me in this year. So we stopped working together. She was doing good. We connected in this year. Now when we connected this year, she came to me because she had gotten interested in a guy, and because of all the work that she was doing, she actually had gotten this guy involved in her life. Now because she had just done the work on herself but not specifically on the relationship area, even though this guy came in her life, she saw herself consciously sabotage the relationship. And even though the relationship was going good, she saw herself consciously ruin the relationship based on her past issues that were coming up. Because what happens is she got involved in one situation, which was her marriage, which didn't work out. Then she got involved in a relationship. Now even though she didn't want it, but that affects your mind, because your mind is still not stopping. It's still undergoing the process of creating patterns. And when my mind is creating patterns and it is a recurring theme, my mind will create patterns against it. That's just how it will be, right? So she got involved in this situation, and she saw herself sabotaging it. Now this guy was an enabler. Let me explain what an enabler means. An enabler means, so let's say this girl, my client, she had insecurities when it comes to relationships. Now she was projecting these insecurities onto the person instead of working on them for herself, right? She needed consistent reassurance. When this guy is not texting her for 20 minutes, she's texting him again and again and again. And at the start of the relationship, this person enabled her by reassuring her instead of creating a boundary at that time. Now this is something that happens unconsciously, but for my client, what this signifies is that, you know what, I got involved suffered in this, and I have insecurities which is difficult to deal with, but when I project it onto the other person, he deals with them for me. So I will consistently keep doing that. But what she's not realizing is that eventually that is something that will not have the relationship work, because a relationship, yes, reassurance is fine. Yes, you need to support your partner, but you don't need to baby your partner, right? Which is what the guy had started doing. And you don't need to take all their issues. You can be there with them while they work on their issues themselves, and you can help and support them in any way that you can. But eventually, they are the ones who will have to work on these issues. It's just like, let's say you have a friend who has to undergo an exam, right? You can help your friend, you can help them study, but you cannot eventually take that exam for them. You cannot eventually do the work for them, right? You can help them in every way possible. That's just how it goes in the relationship, right? So as she went into this pattern and this relationship kept on going forward, as it was going forward, she started seeing hot and cold from this person again. So this is when we started working together. So when we started working together, we started focusing a lot on her sabotaging tendencies. Now, this one activity that I even posted about a few days back on my Instagram, and I will share it here too, is I told her to make a list from the perspective of the guy, right? On if she was the guy, what were the behaviors that would make her feel that I, as in her in this situation, am crossing a boundary. So if I was looking, like if she was looking at it from the guy's perspective, what were the qualities that she had as a girlfriend that this guy wouldn't actually feel happy with? Not because he's not accepting her, but because some qualities were actually past insecurities that were coming and sabotaging the relationship, right? So this is where it's not about black and white, it's mostly gray. We need to understand what the middle ground is. We need to understand the person in order for us to actually help the person. That's why when a lot of people ask me advice, a lot of times I'm not able to answer it in DMs, in comments, because I don't know you and I don't know your situation. So giving you advice just based on a comment is not something that is fully possible. That's just possible in coaching sessions. So after we started working on the situation with her person got a lot better. She started being in a position where she stopped projecting her insecurities onto the person, and she started being in a position where she started to work on herself, and now her relationship mindset. One thing I love about her is that she's very, very, very open as an individual. She's very honest, right? So every time I have given her an advice, I have never gotten any wave of defensiveness from her, because a lot of times the truth is very difficult to hear. And when someone tells that to you, it's not so. When a coach tells you something, they don't tell you because they want to hurt you, but because they have to be honest with you, right? Their intention is not to hurt you, but to be as honest with you as possible, because it might hurt in the meantime now, but as a whole, it's just to help you achieve what you want. So that's what we worked on, and after that she started getting better. So this was a follow and we stopped working together, and she was doing very, very great. Now after that she took a break from coaching, and she came back to work with me now, where when we discussed the whole situation, what the situation was, that even though they were in a dynamic which was good, she was experiencing a lot of hot and cold, again because she saw herself fall back into her tendencies of seeking reassurance. Now we have worked on this, and we have finalized a few fixes through which this can actually become a permanent solution. But do you see how it's not just about getting it, it's about maintaining it, right? And that's why when she keeps checking up and does coaching, she does so because she wants to actually solidify and cement her results. This happens with me all the time when clients say that, after they get their success stories, they come back to work on solidifying it, because that receiving that is just a glimpse in the time, right? That's just one moment. But then she started working on receiving it more, how to maintain it, all these things. So now this person actually reached out. I have follow-up texts which I cannot share because they are slightly confidential, but she has discussed with me how the relationship is now going into a very good direction. There is also commitment, and she is doing good. So use this as an indication to understand that if you're facing through some past traumas, it's not something that you are a slave of. You are in charge, and you can focus on these things for yourself, and you can work on them for yourself. And If you are in a similar situation, apply these things. They will be absolutely helpful for you, and you would be able to be in a situation where you would be able to receive results like her. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a good day. I will see you guys in the next video.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe and share if you like the video. The link for my one-on-one coaching, my self-help courses, and my free newsletter are in the description box below.